And we are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 67 of Global Citizens. So, if you guys have been following my posts, yeah, you guys would know that recently I invited the guys from DIY Academy. We have some of my friends, Wahyu and Hadi, who is actually promoting a certain proposal called the Digital Visa Nomad Scheme. And well, this gentleman is actually somebody who has been really supportive of that movement. He is also you will see him all over social media. In fact, he actually has a petition that is now, I believe, it's sit at around 2,000 signature.
Mhm.
Some of my own contacts actually signed it. So this individual is an amazing individual, and when I look at his resume, I'm like, holy cow, that is really the only thing I can say. So so yes, just to introduce him. So his name is Olúmidé Gbenro. So he is also known as the Globopreneur and is the founder of Bali Digital Nomad Summit and the Global House Influencer Marketing. So he is actually a third culture kid that originally hailed from Nigeria, and he grew up in the United Kingdom and the United States of America, and he is now living in Bali. So his multilingual skills actually has allowed him to grow and monetize brands of some of the world's leading entrepreneurs, influencers, and startups. His global networks of influence from his personal brand span on every continent, and the average network of the companies he has worked with is over $4 million. Yeah, and the network of his elite network of his investors is in the billions. So if I want to mention any more of it, I think I will lose all my airtime. So without further ado, I will pass the platform back to Olmide. So Olmide, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great, man. Thank you so much for the opportunity, Calvin. It's really amazing to be on, and I want to share as much value as I can and teach people things that I know, experiences that I have that may be able to, help them avoid mistakes that I made, so that they can, grow faster and make some impact in the world.
I'm glad to hear that. You know, when I was coming up with your questions, it is actually the most trickiest ones I've ever made. Yeah, because I was thinking, okay, this guy's got too many things that he can talk about. So how can I cram it up in a 45-minute
Mm,
interview? So I'll try my
that's
best.
true.
Hopefully it works. But okay, for those of you who are tuning in to this show for the very first time, and will be tuning in a little later, yeah? Global Citizens is an online platform whereby I invited individuals who has experienced a multicultural lifestyle. So basically, Olmide and myself, we both grow up of our outside of our own passport country. We grow up, we learn other cultures, and that's pretty much how our mindset works. So one of the main area of this show is actually to promote intercultural studies. So I've invited third culture kids, nomads, and international speakers and expats because I want people to understand that living overseas is not like an extended vacation where you actually just come to the country, you experience their culture, and then you are back to your own home country. Because when you live outside of your passport country, you need to adapt your mindset, your perspective, and a lot of times what you understand and what you know is challenged.
Mhm.
So yeah, without further ado, I will ask Olmide his first question. Yeah, and Olmide, I know you know yourself well enough. Okay, but in this show there's a term called the TC quest. So it's basically about your life growing up outside of as a global citizens. So yeah, do you mind sharing with us a little bit more about that before we get on to all
Mhm.
of the entrepreneurship area? And I'm sorry.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, go
Sure,
ahead.
yeah. For me, so as you said, I was born in Nigeria, and when I was about age 6, my parents and family immigrated to the United Kingdom. So we lived in London, England for about 6 years or 7 years.
Yeah,
So I spent the age 6 to 13 in England. I had a British accent. As you said, when you're growing up or you're in a different country, you take on the abilities in a way. My British accent's ability, but if you take on the cultural traditions and the customs, not even knowing or thinking about it. So I
yeah,
learned a British accent when I arrived in England from age 6 to 13. And then when we moved from America, when I was 13 years old, then again, my accent switched to American accent. So it's like a very way of cueing your mind to blend into the society you're in, that it literally changes the way you talk. I don't know how many people realize that. That's why you have people like us who you could probably do stereotypical accents of 5 different countries and speak different
Yeah.
languages, but it's not because we're doing it to be rude. It's because we learn that at such an early age that we can kind of mix our minds in different cultures and languages. And also, if you guys are watching, if you have kids or if you have little cousins, teach them language early. Give them a Duolingo, because trust me, they're a sponge. You can absorb culture, understanding, and content much more readily when you're a kid, especially before age 13, which is coincidentally when I went to America and my accent changed, you know. So after I got to America age 13, I've been there pretty much my whole adult life, before I started traveling 3 years ago, and been living in Bali, Indonesia for about a year and a half.
All right. Which part of the US did you grow up in?
So yeah, I grew up in Columbus, Ohio, kind of middle America. Not as
Yeah.
diverse as later when I moved to California for my graduate degree. So most of the time was in Ohio, and then when I was about 24, 25, I moved to California for graduate school. So that was really cool. Yeah,
All right. Since you are from there, I gotta ask: are you a Cleveland Cavaliers fan?
absolutely. I'm a Cleveland.
All
I
right.
was, especially when LeBron was there, and then
Yeah.
we had those heydays. It was amazing. We won a championship finally, and funny enough, I think I was a sophomore in high school when LeBron James was a senior. So all
Yeah.
this controversy, all this stuff on television, the world was watching. We were just watching it like it was our backyard. So yeah, that was actually how that was.
How about when you found out about the decision?
Bro, I know when I was in a decision, I was sitting in my summer home or my friend's home in the summer, nice big living room. We're sitting there watching TV, like, wow, he's definitely gonna stay. And then he said it, and we were shocked. We were like, walked around the house like angry, like we could not believe it, like everybody else. And if I always tell this story about that, when I saw, you see the famous footage of somebody burning a shirt in Cleveland, that was one of my friends that was on national TV burning LeBron James jersey.
All right.
He texted me, he showed me the video. He showed me the video before,
Oh,
and I was watching the news at night, and they showed it at the news. I was like, "Is that Jose? Is that you?" He's like, "Yeah, dude, I burnt the shirt. I burnt the jersey."
oh,
I couldn't believe it. So
oh,
yeah,
dang. Okay. Okay. Yeah. If yeah, one of my own personal idol is actually Maverick Carter, who is a
oh
LeBron's business
wow, oh yeah.
manager. So yeah, if you
You study
guys,
business. That's how you know Maverick Carter. If people don't know Maverick Carter, Google him, because he's made a career and a life outside of being LeBron James's agent and confidant and friend. And then that's another lesson, to know that if you have talented friends around you, stick with them and support them. You might be a millionaire off of it.
yeah, I think
So
it
yeah.
was it Warren Buffett who said it, like you're the average of the 5 people that you're
Hmm.
close with. Yeah, I think that was
Exactly.
it. I think yeah.
Yep.
All
Yep. Yep.
right.
That's true.
All right, so now we will jump into the very, very first question. Yeah. So,
Sure.
do you mind telling with us, like sharing with us your entrepreneurship journey? And in this day and age, though,
Hmm.
how would you rank these? Money, information, or empathy? Which one do you feel is the most useful? Sorry, is the most important in business and in life?
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a tough one. And when I saw some of your pre-questions, I was like, this guy is like really cerebral. Like he's trying to play games out here, trying to trick me. You're not gonna get me today. No, man, those are incredible questions. Those are very, and I don't know if I have a perfect answer. I don't know if I'm going to be right every time, but I'm going to give you sort of what I'm feeling and what I think. I think in order to be successful in life, you need to have knowledge. The second one. If
Okay.
you don't know the basis of, what motivates people, how money works, what value is, you have no chance. Like unless you're born into it and like they curdle you from age 0 to age 75, and you have this really wealthy trillionaire family, which there's only a few in the world, you need to be able to have some sort of knowledge and understanding of the world and explore it and read books and learn from mentors. But if you have it surrounded by you, I get it. That's fine. But I think most of us need a way to acquire knowledge, especially one that isn't biased. We've seen in the news today all this fake news and all these things that are happening. You don't really get the truth. So finding truth by yourself, exploring it, looking at what really matters, that's I think number one.
Good.
I think empathy on the side has to go along with that. And I think I was going to pick that first, but I understand how important knowledge is. I think in business, knowledge, number one, no questions asked. Because sometimes people sacrifice empathy in order for profit, in order to actually make a difference. It's complicated. But I think in personal, as a human being, empathy, no questions asked comes number one, especially for me. I think being able to understand people and connect with human beings is the greatest gift that you can give from yourself as a person, and it can change lives. Like if you listen a little bit more, if you connect a little bit more, you try to understand people, why they make the decisions, don't judge people so much, you have a chance to really create a better earth. And that's what I'm all about.
All right. All right. That's really good. That's really good. And no, and yeah, that's why I said all of his questions is the toughest ones I've ever created. It's because I
All right,
really,
great.
really want to pick up his brain, and I really hope my audience do that. But the thing is that when I was looking at all the people, all the connections that he met, all of the informations that I know of him, I'm like, okay, this is too tough for me to turn it up in a 45 minutes. So yeah, I really hope I try to get it. Oh, hey. Oh, yes, there's actually a comment from one of my past guests. Hey, buddy, how are you? And it's Pablo. So, uh,
Hello. Hola,
yeah,
Pablo.
yeah. All right. There's also so Rayson is actually one of the person who inspired the creation of the show. He's a good friend of mine. He's actually a fan of Joel Brown, who's actually part of Bali Digital Nomad Summit.
Nice.
All right. Okay, so I actually know you from Bali Digital Nomad Summit, of course. I follow some of the webinars, especially when we are in the middle of this quarantine. So I really learned quite a bit of it. And at that time also it's because, as I mentioned, one of my buddy, well, he was at that time one of the speaker. So yeah, I just got to ask though, what was the inspiration for Bali Digital Nomad Summit? And
Yeah.
also,
Hmm.
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, for me, when I got to Bali a year ago, a year and a half ago, even before I arrived, I wanted to do a digital nomad summit in Bali. I was thinking, why hasn't anybody done it? You know, I looked up the main hubs for digital nomads. I see all this content coming out of Canggu, people who are working online, just digital influencers. I'm like, nobody's going to do it? Okay, I'll do it. I basically saw an opportunity to create a home for digital nomads through the summit and for a way to educate people, about the lifestyle. Because what I noticed was, in the same respect, there was a lot of people who were experts, but in the same respect, a lot of people who were rookies, who were living backpack lifestyle, who think, oh, because it's cheaper, all you have to do is move to Southeast Asia. That's not how it works. And when it comes
Yeah,
to the visa stuff, which we'll talk about later, it's not how it works. It's not the most optimized way of living. I thought, what if I can get all the leaders in the community, like you said, Joel Brown, Virginia Salas, different people I know in my network that I was already connected with, either online or in person, and bring them and say, here's what it looks like to live an optimized lifestyle. If you're interested, join us. And thankfully, we had a really, really good, as you said, like really good interest, and people were going crazy about it because it was the first time in Bali or in Indonesia something like this was going to happen. And as you know, unfortunately, we postponed it till next year, but we were able to have a few successful online webinars, including a virtual digital nomad summit in June where we had almost 1,000 people. So it was really, really refreshing to see the community is so hungry for education and learn from each other, not just from the big people, but from each other to learn, but to network, to connect, and have community and time to actually connect like human beings too.
yeah. Okay. Earlier you mentioned on as a human being, yeah. So as I mentioned, of course, the intention of the show is intercultural studies. Of course, I've been fortunate enough to have invited a lot of individuals with amazing backgrounds and accomplishments, or if not, they're doing some really cool projects to help this area. Well, currently the world, as we know, is in a really funny state. Is because some of the establishments in the past that has been established and that has created, maybe let's not sugarcoat the term, is to create a certain bias and advantage. Yeah,
Hmm.
we've seen a lot of it though. So how do you feel though with more of these kind of, like more of kind of information, or like what you're doing with Bali Digital Nomad Summit, whereby you actually tell some of these business leaders like, hey guys, this is how my life is like in Asia. It's not like as beautiful as maybe an Instagram can portray. How do you feel though? More awareness of this kind of stuff actually helps to promote like global awareness, maybe.
Yeah, you're saying the awareness of the lifestyle or how?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Like let's say, like for your case, you've shown like some of your connections is like the reality of life in Asia. For example, we have the visa part that you mentioned about, and of
Mm-hmm.
course, there's cultural barriers and etc. So yeah, how do you
Yeah.
feel about that? Like when more people know the reality behind it.
Yeah, it's I think there's two things. I think there's one part that also shows people that it's not Instagrammable lifestyle all the time. So it shows them that no matter where you go, you're gonna still have challenges or have to adjust. You know, you have to learn how to adjust and how to live a more optimized lifestyle. But I also think it shows the amazing parts because it shows how you can not survive but thrive living in a place like this. But you're right, like it's not so pretty as it looks on Instagram. Like all the
Yeah.
Instagram models and guys and girls drinking their martini and things like drinking their on the beach and amazing motorcycles being ridden on the beach. That's not really reality. I've never ridden a motorcycle on the beach. You know what I mean? Like maybe one day that'd be fun. But the things that you see on Instagram are just again the idealized version of this lifestyle. But on the same note, it's beautiful, man. Like it's Sunday. I woke up at like 9 o'clock. You know, not tired, feeling good. I'm gonna drink a coconut soon. You know, it's so much better, in my opinion, than the Western life of a 9 to 5 because you can choose what you want to do when you want to do it. That's the really beautiful part about it.
All right. Okay. We earlier you touched on this, so let me just maybe elaborate a little bit more. Yeah. So, how much do you agree with the line "your network is your net worth," and what would you advise though? Because the thing is that when you get to know somebody, there's no you can immediately just start, hey, let's talk business. That's in fact, if you try
Mm.
to do that in Indonesia, you pretty much fail.
Yeah, in parts of Asia, I know that because I went to Japan,
Yeah.
and that's not how it works.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Like for me, I always started with a mutual, respectful connection, and I never talk about business. I talk about, or I try to give people value in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
So I definitely encourage people like don't try to sell people on the first time. And I used to do this too. Like sometimes I'd be successful, but it's very low percentage of trying to sell a product or a service to people unless they trust you. It's about trust. I think the main thing we're talking about here is creating relationships, network, or connection to build trust before you can start talking about doing a deal. And this is especially if people are listening, if you're trying to do bigger deals, if you're trying to do really large commission or really big deals when it comes to real estate, whatever, you have to have credibility in front of somebody by building a relationship, either through your authority, who you know, what you've already achieved, the content you've created, or if you're starting out by connecting with someone, asking them, what can I do to help you, or figuring out what their needs are. If somebody's, you know, a major entrepreneur you admire, but you notice that maybe their YouTube content or their YouTube intro is not that good, make them a free, don't even ask them. Take content from around the internet, make them a really cool intro and send it to them and say, hey, I made you this. That's how you
Oh,
build connection and network and build relationships with top level people. And I know I'm veering off on the question, but the biggest thing I say about the network is your net worth is absolutely true because when I was in college and I started throwing these networking events, in the beginning, I just had college friends and people that were, you know, let's just say not like they didn't have a lot of money, but they were college students. We're all broke in college at some point. And
Yeah.
my business online, yeah, exactly. My online business wasn't doing that great. My network, being able to connect people and create an income from connecting a brand with a influencer or an entrepreneur wasn't that great. But when I started to have these events and I started to meet surgeons, attorneys, professional athletes, Olympians, people who are investors, real estate investors. Okay, now I'm looking like, okay, something's here to be able to explore and create a better life. And knowing high level people has definitely helped me, even if it's not directly translating to a check today. It's given me the leverage and the ability to have conversations with some of the world's top people, or at least influential people in different cities around the world that I've lived, to be able to say, hey, let me connect you with so and so. Let me connect you with that person. And it's really helped definitely with income, but also with growing as a person,
All right.
progressing.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's really good. Yeah, I can relate to that on a certain level, actually. For one thing, is because during this COVID, like we actually find a lot of online communities. So,
Hmm.
yeah, this actually has become quite a lot of people who grow interested with my show. So this is something that I can relate on a certain level on your side.
Yeah.
Okay, earlier you mentioned about social branding, yeah? Do you feel
Hmm.
though, do you feel though that nowadays is because, well, with how much social media is has been, well, let's say it's a key part of our life because it's
Mm.
everywhere. Do you feel though that the image has taken precedence over content value? And what would you advise a new content creator or a new branding expert would how what would you advise them moving forward?
My biggest advice is to be authentic to yourself. Don't try to rent a Lamborghini or go to the coolest restaurant in Singapore or Jakarta and try to act cool. Like if that's not you, if that's you, go ahead, please. But if you're not authentic to who you truly are, people can smell it. People know when someone's being real or not. That's what I pride myself on with all my content I've ever made. Like when I used to live in California, and again, those events I did with luxury events with like big mansions and celebrities. Every time I post a photo with a Porsche, I say, this Porsche was sponsored by our sponsors at Porsche California. Like I'm not sitting in front of the Porsche pretending I'm rich and I got $17 million in the back, because I don't. And I want you to know that this is still my journey up to the top, or up to making impact and reaching more people. Okay, I tell people, this is like the event that we held at this really large estate in Los Angeles or in Beverly Hills. But by the way, the real estate agent in the photo next to me, this is his property. Like this is his property listing. Don't get it twisted. I want you guys to watch me on my journey. You have to create content that shows exactly who you are, what you're doing, where you are in life, and you'll be surprised how many hundreds of thousands or millions of people potentially are interested because they feel like they can relate to you.
Hmm.
So be authentic, tell a story, document, like the Gary Vee says, document your story and tell the truth. And I think you guys will see the difference, that people will start to connect because we're so human that when people tell the truth and they're so transparent, it makes people relate to you easier.
Okay, okay. Yeah, that's a really a golden nugget, man. It's like
Mm,
people try
absolutely.
to usually they promote image over relatability. So yeah,
Hmm.
that's whoa. Okay, guys, new influencers, please take note of that. Relatability, guys, not your image.
Yeah.
All right, you mentioned earlier on Gary Vee, yeah? Okay, so you've worked with plenty of high level individuals, celebrities, and a lot of, well, basically people that you will see in magazines and you'll be like, wow, I want to be that way. Who are some of the ones that have truly impacted you the most?
Um, I'd say for me, it's definitely like the Olympic athletes I work with. So people who are, how do I explain this? So if you're an athlete, especially a track and field athlete, people who are doing Olympic sports, every 4 years, I said 5, every 4 years, that's the only time that people know your name, really. You still make money. You run a different meets. You go to Paris, you go to Sweden, you go to like South Africa, you make some money from running and winning races. But the acclaim and the world seeing you as a superstar only comes every 4 years. Most people only do it one time. They go to the Olympics, they're done. Um, and I'm proud to say, like, the Olympians and the people that I'm working with, human beings. Brittany Reese is somebody that I work with that's inspired me incredibly. She's a three-time Olympian. It means she's been 12 years for, yeah, she's three-time Olympian, 12 years going to the Olympics, and she's going to do one more next year. She's going to be a four-time Olympian, and she's basically been consistent for 16 years doing one thing and being really good at it and not complaining, not making excuses. Her most recent competition, she actually didn't do good, but she didn't make an excuse. She said, I'm going to come back to the Olympics and just make up for this slight error in my performance. And people like that who are consistent, and also secondly, don't get seen in front of the media all the time, those are the darlings, and those are the people that I really am inspired by, because, you know, like growing up, not being wealthy and not having a ton of money, you want to be like other people. You want more money. You want to be on TV. You want to be loved. You want to be seen. You want to be acknowledged. And then you get older and you see these other people who are doing amazing things, and they're not asking for anything. They're not asking for any acclaim. It's their performance in themselves when they do something that other people will acknowledge finally. You know, like people will actually recognize you, not because you ask them to, but because you're actually doing things consistently. So that's what really inspires me. And, you know, I've worked with, you know, other people in the past, and that basically what I admire the most about people is humble people.
Yeah.
They don't ask for anything. They don't try to act cooler than everybody else. They make a lot of money. There's a guy, I'll mention names, the guy who made a ton of money in blockchain. Like he's wealthier. You know how like in blockchain, when you bought Bitcoin in 2000, like this guy and a couple people I know bought Bitcoin when it was nothing. A lot of it. They were mining it. Meaning whatever you believe in technology, Bitcoin, blockchain, whatever. All I know is if they're mining that amount of Bitcoin every day for the last 8 years before this thing went crazy, they're probably not even billionaires. I don't know. I don't know how much they're worth. But what I know is they got a lot of digital assets, and they the most normal people. Because once you make a certain amount of money, there's nothing. Your head can't get bigger. It gets big, and you're okay. My head's big. Let me just keep it there. Like you get humbled by, you know, creating something special, and then a lot of people don't let it get to their head. That's what I'm most impressed by. Because trust me, I've been in Los Angeles where it's kind of stereotypical. I've met a lot of kind of slightly wealthy people that act like they're the president or they're somebody else. So that humble attitude is what I think I admire the most.
Do you feel though that some of the most successful self-made men or even women are actually the most humble individuals you will ever meet? Or what's your
Absolutely.
experience with that?
Absolutely. People who were poor, you know, when you have money, then you're like, well, I'm kind of still the same person. And I've seen it time and time again. People who had no money to having a lot of money are they know the difference in lifestyle and they appreciate the difference, but they don't let it get to their head. You know, I really found that for sure.
All right. Okay. Well, we've talked about yourself and of course what you're doing and of course your success, yeah. So we definitely have to balance it out a bit. And of course, I'm not ribbing you on anything on this, but what have you experienced? Maybe have you experienced though a unique learning opportunity? On this show, we don't like to call failure as what it is. I like to call it a unique learning
Oh, that's
opportunity.
music learning. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
The first 2 years, let's just say, yeah, like the first 2 years of that traveling and working online and trying to be a digital nomad wasn't working out, man. I was like making $250 for per month for a client. I mean, now a lot more than that. And I basically was struggling living on my friends' couches in Germany, in Mexico, and while like traveling, like, you know, as if I was living this lifestyle, everybody thought probably it was great. I was still sort of struggling for surviving and creating an income because I didn't have a full understanding of social media. I didn't know the best things to sell online or the best value to create for people, especially bigger entrepreneurs, you know, at the time. So those are the hard times, man. Like I remember the lowest point, you know, I was in the lowest point for me was when I was in not a bed and breakfast, like literally a hostel in Germany. I was in a hostel in Hamburg, Germany. And I remember I literally had no money left in my account, no money to pay for the next day's hostel, unless I closed this guy for an Instagram consultation for $250.
Okay.
So I literally had my life in the balance. You know, like I was literally so broke that I knew if I eat tonight, I won't be able to pay the bill tomorrow for the hostel. If I pay the bill for the hostel, I won't eat tomorrow. And I was on this phone. I was on this Instagram DM with this guy, like, hey, you know, let's consultate. How much do you charge? I charge 500. Okay, 350. Okay, 250. I charge you 250 to tell you how to grow your Instagram. I'm really good at this. And even then, my confidence wasn't as high as being able to know how to convert through Instagram. But I said, I just got to keep pushing. Like, I'm going to help this person, and they're going to pay me. And somehow that person said yes. Literally, if that person didn't say yes and pay me right then and there, I would have been homeless in Germany. Now, I don't know about their system, how it works, but it's probably not as bad because they probably have some way to help me out. But in general, like, you don't want to be homeless in a foreign country, especially being myself, going to a foreign country, not having experience with knowing how things work. I was just kind of like figuring things out. So that was the lowest point, I'd say, of this journey. Like only 2.5 years ago, you know. And I think it was like the lowest thing that I had to get through, but because I got over it and something else happened and I kept going, even the failure was imminent, I kept going. Remember that? I kept moving. I didn't give up. Then, that's kind of how I got over that and was able to move forward.
All right. Okay. Wow. That's a wow. That's really
tough times. Tough
and
times.
that
I was
was
still documenting it at the time too, by the way. Like people saw me in my hoodie. I didn't need to tell people I was broke. I was wearing an old gray hoodie in Germany without a real jacket for 3 months. You guys take a guess if I got money. You know, like I was documenting it along the way as well, just to put that out there.
that must be freezing. That must be freezing, man.
Bro, I was cold, bro. Like I'd go outside and like the wind was the worst. It cut through on your face. So I'd be walking like this. Like I was in Germany walking, getting on the train, like getting on the buses, and my face was cold, and it was, dude. Like if everybody's watching this and you think that you're having a tough time, there's always somebody else having a worse time. You got to get your butt up. You got to get working. You got to figure out. Google something, go on YouTube, figure out how you can make $15 today. Maybe make a logo on Canva, like somebody's saying right here. Earn your Canva credit. Listen, you know how much hustling you can do on Canva? If you're struggling right now, create a Canva account, create a Fiverr account. If you can't get a Fiverr account, use a VPN, pretend you live in America. I'm just telling people that. I'm not saying do it, but I'm saying that's an option. And go hustle.
Yep. Yeah, you can do that actually. I'm not using a VPN right now since my internet sucks currently. Okay, let's moving on. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. Earlier you mentioned on how, like, imagine of your situation back in Hamburg. Yeah. Have you ever though feel insecure about who you are, or especially when you are in a new kind of environment? I mean, like people will see you maybe in, well, certain parts in Asia, of course, is that there seems to be a lot of adoration for those who are from the western part of the world, for one thing. But there are certain parts of the world that, of course, well, do not accept this kind of diversity, and there's still a heavy segregation to it, though. So, what do you learn more about yourself, though, from the insecurity of being in these new places?
Mm, to be honest with me, I never felt insecurity about being in new places because I was doing this since I was a kid. Because like my parents, we moved from Nigeria to England, England to America. So in my adult life traveling, I have never felt an insecurity of traveling. I know I'm the only black person in this Asian town. Like, like I get it. Like I get that. I'm different. You different. I look different. But I never felt different or discriminated against or it's, you know what's crazy? Anytime I ever felt that was from a Westerner that was in the Asian country with me. That's the only time I ever
Huh.
felt like, what's this guy's problem? Like, why is he saying that? What's going on? And it happened one time in Bali, and I told the story in another podcast. I prefer not to, it's a long story. I prefer not to talk about it. But basically, I only ever felt this difference because somebody in the West brought that out. And I feel that that's what I love about Asian culture, the respect. Even if somebody hates you, they don't, at least they don't act out on it or they don't, not even hate, but they don't, people don't, like I went to Japan. I remember this. I'm taller, a little bit taller than most people in Japan. And I'm walking in Japan. No one even looked at me. I like that. I love that. I don't need people to see that, oh, this guy looks different. He's a little bit taller. He might be darker skinned than us. No one cares in Japan. People are
Yeah.
such respectful that they mind their business. And I find that to be generally translatable to most of Asia. For me, I think the only thing is maybe when I was having an experience as a young adult in America and the difference in living there and being black in America, that's the difference in the way you're treated for sure. But when I got to be older and I started traveling, excuse me, I had to sneeze. Woo! Excuse me,
Bless
everybody.
you.
Woo! I have to make
You
sure
got
I
a
say
second
that.
blessing for the day.
Huh?
You got your second blessing of the day.
Oh yeah, two blessings today. Woo! So I tell you, like when I came to Bali and when I've been to Japan, when I've been in Singapore, it's the most love I've ever felt. Like people really embrace me, you know. So I think it's a beautiful thing in that even if people aren't as diverse in certain areas, they still have that human respect, man. They really
Yeah.
do.
Okay, I'm glad to
Yeah.
hear that. At least we,
Yeah.
well, we it shows that we Asians are, well, we accept we accept the global diversity. Hooray! Yeah,
You
and
made it.
yeah, yeah, we show that we have, well, at least we leave you with a good impression. I always
Hmm.
feel that I think this is one of my own personal philosophy is that image attracts people, but substance retains them. So I think,
Mm.
thankfully,
Yeah.
that is something that has worked for you also.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think for me, I think you know what attracts people to me, and I think you guys can learn from. Just make sure you're authentic. Is that I don't go into anything with an agenda. When I create content, I'm smiling, I'm telling people, I'm giving value. Or if I meet someone in person, I ask them, you know, like where are you from? Like but you know, what do you enjoy doing? What do you love to do? I show
Yeah,
interest because I really do care. And I think the image of me has always been to people someone that they can trust. And then even in the content and the videos I make, and like I'm your friend. And
yeah,
then that builds into substance where maybe that could turn into more of a connection in a business or more of a friendship and a connection to create something. So yeah,
all right. Okay, I have a a fun question for you. Yeah, based on your experiences growing up in a global lifestyle, and of course with your business experience in entrepreneurship and well your networking capability and the knowledge that you gain from that. I per se I am giving you a full autonomy to engineer your own civilization. What would you implement,
I saw that one coming.
man?
I listen. I say free will is where what life is about. That's what we are all given since birth in most countries. And I'd say I would say everybody wants to say equality, like perfect, like like utopia. But I think giving people a structure and the the tools they need to succeed with their natural gifts is what I would say is a perfect society. If somebody like really likes boxing and likes like they just want to punch things all the time, maybe other countries or other cultures think this is violent. All they want to do is box. Well, put that person and make them build buildings and give them boxing gloves to knock down buildings to build new ones. Like give people and encourage people and how do you say this? Help people to use their gifts to succeed. So building a society, if I had a blueprint, it would just be there's general things you need in society. You need food, you need buildings, you need shelter. I would put people in engineering. I would put people where they love to do what they want to do. And I think because that's going to naturally allow people to be more enjoy their work and be more successful in general, then things will go much better in that society. Because what's happening in the West, what's happening in 9 to 5, somebody may love singing or art or engineering or drawing, which can be related to engineering and building something really cool and important for society. But no, they're working a desk job and they're doodling on their desk job. When the boss walks by, like they're like hiding what they're doing because you're not supposed to do that at work, right? You're supposed to punch the numbers in, buddy. So I think that there's a difference between empowering people and then turning people into workers. And I think it's important to empower people and realize that that adds to society if we just allow people to do what they do best and they enjoy.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I agree with that. I agree with that. I think the thing is because we follow certain customs, doctrines, and expectation
Mm-hmm.
on what do we do, what we are supposed to, how we are supposed to behave, that we
Yeah.
actually we do not want to explore our full capacity because it's
Mm.
easy and it's the comfort.
It's
It's the
easy to just relax. Yeah, that's true.
Oh,
Mm.
okay. Yeah, yeah. I love that. I love that. I love that. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I actually, of course, as you guys see in my title card, yeah, I actually need to show you guys again about the Bali Digital Nomad Visa, which Olmide has been really instrumental in promoting. And I actually met with Wahyu several days back, and here's the funny part. When we were doing that episode, I actually thought you were part of that very team that actually you are part of the DIY Academy itself. And the thing is,
I am. I mean, I love those guys. I am. Whatever support they need,
yeah,
so put me on the team, man. I'm supporting anything that YU and Hadi do. I am there. Trust me. So hey, you might as well think that.
yeah, the funny enough is if you know Wahyu, the thing is with him is that sometimes it's because he got too much things going on, and well, of course, he forgot who is who. He told me, "Oh, now we have a bigger team now that we have people from this part of the world." So I thought, "Oh, okay." So does and well,
YU.
when I saw him, you were doing the interview with him, right? So I thought, oh, okay. So does that mean Olmide is part of the team? Then yeah, yeah, I think so. Then in the end, I created a title card with all three of you in one photo. Then he's like, bro, Olmide is not part of the team. Yeah, but you told me he is.
But you just said, yeah, he's kind of there.
Yeah.
He's in there. He's in the
Oh wait.
room.
Then he's like,
So
oh
funny.
really? I didn't know that he's gonna be in the interview though. I mean, okay, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. I can just edit it out quickly. So that's all right.
Yeah.
Okay. So of course, well, this thing is still ongoing, but I
Yeah.
want to ask you, about what are your opinions for future digital nomads who could be interested in heading to Bali if this visa, is approved. So what do you
Yeah.
feel though they can
Yeah.
contribute to if
Yeah,
you
there's
not?
there's there's two things, and we built these into the proposal and
Yeah.
even into the petition. Is that we know that there's both a economic value for digital nomads. So obviously, if we live in Bali and other islands, by the way, guys and ladies and gentlemen, we're not just saying Bali. We know that it's Indonesia. There's other beautiful islands. You got Lombok, You got Nusa, all the Nusa Islands, beautiful places that maybe the Wi-Fi isn't as perfect now. We got to work on that. But there's so many islands on Bali. I think like 17,000 islands. Obviously, only a few of them are inhabitable or have a lot of people on them. But we know that just by allowing that visa to be used, especially what we're pushing is for years, for 1 year visa, we know that people are going to stay in Bali longer. They're going to spend money. And a lot of us who are here, I'm in Bali right now. We stay because we love the culture. We really believe that if we leave, there's less money for the landlords and the local restaurants and warungs and all the people that make money from us staying here. So that's number one. That's obvious. Everybody knows. Okay, tourists, even long stay tourists, digital nomad tourists, whatever you want to call it, remote workers. We make money. They make money from us staying here. Secondly, is sort of the intellectual side and the digital skills that, again, while you being with DIY Academy, we're already planning on how are we going to use this opportunity to support his project, because his project is helping Indonesian youth and people in Indonesia learn about digital skills and how to create money online. See, in Indonesia, a lot of people work traditional jobs like the West, and it's the same thing as the West. We all have the same problem. Only some of us are online and make money online, and we realize the potential and also go through those challenges. What we're saying is we want to teach Indonesian youth through DIY Academy different skills that I find easy. Facebook ads, come on, I could do an entire 3-hour seminar on Facebook ads. That would just be the intro. There's a lot to learn about Facebook ads and how to use it to grow your business or your personal brand. A lot of Indonesians don't know that. A lot of Indonesian youth, there's a small segment that are digitally skilled. I've been told they're more in Yogyakarta because that's the student city. They're very, very skilled over there, but they don't have the support to grow that and to be able to help more students and more young people learn how to make money online. So what we're looking at is, apart from the educational side or economic side, we're looking at some sort of education initiative where if you get a digital nomad visa, just like if you have a social visa, you must contribute intellectually to Indonesia. You got all these skills, man and woman. What are you doing to actually put it into society to help those people grow? Maybe it looks like us volunteering to run the marketing on Facebook and Instagram for local businesses. Maybe it's an hour of volunteering for local businesses. Maybe it's an hour of getting online and doing a free webinar for students who want to learn how to become freelancers on Fiverr and make logos so they can make more money in a week than they make in 1 month working a job 9 to 5 in Jakarta or in Bali. That is the vision we have. So people know when we're coming in, we're not coming in just to be an egotistical tourist or entitled world citizen that thinks because we make a little bit more money online and our money is in Western dollars or euros, now, we spend a lot less money to live in a nice villa. No, that's not what it's about. I want to make it clear, and I keep pushing it anytime I have an opportunity to speak to Indonesians or Westerners. This is not about acting better than everybody, having a special visa. It's about having that role and contribution, not just economically thinking that because you give money to the local rooms, you somehow should be given a pat on the back. No, you're lucky to be in Bali and to be in this beautiful country. You should be thinking, what can I do to help other people get to where I am, locals, to benefit from this internet that's just, that's been given to us somehow. So we really, and in my personal life as well, I'm working on some things now so that I can legally teach people, Indonesians in person, about this digital nomad lifestyle and specifically Facebook, Instagram marketing and media so that they can do it as well.
All right. Yeah. First off, let's just give you a round of applause on that, man. That's wow.
Thank you.
That's beautiful, man. That's beautiful. Yeah. All right, guys. That as what Olúmidé says, there's a lot of opportunity actually, and well, hopefully the visa that we've been trying to promote through any other platform or even what I've been trying to promote using my own social media will eventually be able to be approved of. And of course, later I will be leaving you guys in the description box about the petition. Do check it out and please sign it because there's a lot of interesting opportunity if for digital
Hmm.
nomads and of course in the international community for that. And yeah, I actually didn't know about Yogyakarta that well. Sorry about that. Okay, I
It's
learned
okay.
something new. I learned something new, even from my own home country. Hooray!
Yeah. There you go.
All right, see guys, you can always learn from everyone.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Okay. So this is going to be my final question. Yeah. So
Sure.
earlier you mentioned on your vision of how in the UK the digital nomads could create could provide infrastructure and support on things on Indonesian community in order for them to grow, right? Okay.
Hmm.
So what are your visions though for the digital nomad community, maybe for the upcoming decade? And also, as you mentioned, yeah, knowledge and your empathy has always been the two key factors for yourself that allows
Hmm.
you to, well, to get to where you are. So, what kind of resources, maybe books or even any other programs that you would wish to recommend to the viewers? Maybe this is
Hmm.
something that could help them too.
Sure. I think community is key. I think your guide is in your community and its leaders. And I can't sit here and recommend an exact book that would help everybody or anything like that. I actually, funny enough, I've never really read books as much. I've only really read books when people recommend it and say, if you don't read this book, you better read this book. And I'm like, okay, I'll read this book. So I
Yeah, don't
say,
worry, don't worry. I share the exact
right.
same thing. I share the. Yeah, yeah. I'm here. I'm here.
Okay. Yeah,
Sorry.
read stuff
Yeah,
for
sorry
that. And then
guys. We
also,
are using
yeah.
Indonesian Wi-Fi.
Yeah, it's not as perfect as we want. So, and another thing I say, join communities that align with your values of what you want to learn. I'd say join the DIY Academy community. You know, if you're looking to learn digital skills and if you haven't made $1 online, then we got to have a conversation. It's easy once you figure out how it works. And there's people out there, if you look at their brand and they have a certain number of community members, you have some certain number of people talking about them in a good way, that's a good hint to show you that that's a good place to try and look to see if they can help you to learn what you want to learn. Secondly, to be honest, if you don't mind some promo here from me, I'd say join the Digital Nomad Summit community. This is something where it's not just about Westerners or foreigners. Digital nomad just means that you work online and you have the freedom to travel. If you're an Indonesian and you have more money, you can buy a visa. You can go to Germany. Money gives you options. So you are welcome into the digital
Yeah,
nomad community. And one of the things that we're building, and you talk about the future vision is online communities that have a strong offline presence or offline emphasis. Meaning, I'm building a platform right now called Globoversity. If you're watching this now or later, please go to IG and type in Globoversity. What we're doing is we're creating a regular opportunity to learn from some of the top leaders in remote entrepreneurship, people who run really successful online businesses, but also we're covering other issues around, social issues and networking with each other while in this challenging time and moving forward. How do you meet, even like maybe dating? How do you date as somebody who's location independent? What about the psychology of moving to a new city, learning about different cultures? We're going to cover different topics that help you become a more well-rounded global citizen because we have people with experience in all sorts of different areas. So that is what I think is the future. I see two things. I see Indonesians and even other countries, people in different countries, not being distinguishable by income or by race, but really distinguishable in choosing which communities they want to choose to live in online and then meet up with in person. I know Globoversity is going to be successful because we have such an amazing community in Bali. That's the basis, the baseline of where we're starting. And again, when I say community, I mean both local people who are entrepreneurs and foreign people or Westerners or Africans, whatever you want to say. People from all over the world are a part of Globoversity, the platform I'm building. So I see that as the future. Communities that are online that everybody can be a part of because now we're evening the playing field through online business and being able to teach and learn and connect and grow. And then in the future also, maybe even like being able to, as travel opens up again, I hope, being able to have the freedom of these visas to be able to live in any country. Doesn't matter where you're from. If you're a digital nomad and you get the special digital nomad visa because you've earned it through being able to pay for it or being able to create these online skills that are valuable to any country, now these countries will let you come in and live there no matter what you look like. I think that's a strong opportunity in the future for everybody.
All right. Okay, that's actually the final question for this one. That was, I really hope what the community that Olúmidé has mentioned is really plausible. It's because, well, as one of the interesting thing, I guess, with this recent pandemic is the realization that how we always used to do things may not work anymore. I mean, the thing is that now we realize now even just going outside of our house
Mm-hmm.
could be considered a privilege. Just to let you guys
Mm.
know, in fact, here in Jakarta, we actually have a second lockdown. It's a minimal lockdown at least, but the thing is like when you're just at a mall, you can't even eat. They remove the tables and chairs. So yeah, might as well you just call people for your takeouts and stuff. But the thing is that I think even though it has been, I mean, I don't want to discredit people. I know that there are those who went through tough this period, but oh, sorry. Oh yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, there are some positive in a sense, is because we now reevaluate how we work and how we operate as a human. All right, so that is actually the all my questions. I really have so much more that I want to ask, but yeah, I kind of went overshot on my time limit. Sorry about that.
No worries.
All right, Omide, anything you want to mention to the viewer?
I think I'm going to send you the link to Digital Nomad Summit community so that you can post after this video because I think
Yeah.
there's a lot of value in there. Sometimes we send out PDFs or things related to online income, upcoming webinars, and we're planning a webinar next month to show people how to become freelancers on Globoversity to be specific. So on Globoversity, we're planning a really clean, nice webinar on how to become a successful freelancer. And I think it's a great start for anybody who wants to jump into the online game. Learning one skill, perfecting it, not something that takes a lot of time, but a little bit of time to learn. But once you do, you can actually start bringing in income as a freelancer. One of the ways to be a digital nomad. We want to teach that to people at a high level. We're going to do it next month. So if you join our mailing list that Calvin will post, you can join us next month and start this journey if you're interested in starting a journey to make money online. So perhaps you can have less time working for somebody else or completely go solo by yourself and work for yourself.
All right, guys. Okay, so before I end, I need to give a shout out to those who actually leave the likes and shares. So of course, Pablo, thank you so much, and yeah, really appreciate the comments too. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, and Mason,
Hello.
buddy, thanks so much, bro. Other than that, of course, there's Mr. Neo Jin Hao. Okay. Oh, okay. I think this is one of my viewers. Sorry about that. And Mr. Ivan, and of course Ben. Thank you so much because he actually leave a like for the announcement page, but I'm not sure why it's not showing up. But I definitely at least I give you your acknowledgement, brother. So other than that, thank you so much for those who watched in for this episode, and for those of you who will be watching it a little bit later. And that is the end of Global Citizens, episode 67, conversation with the Globopreneur, with the global network to grow and scale business with media working anywhere around the globe. Wow, that's a lot of globe. Okay, so thank you so much, and again, thank you so much, Olmide, for making the time to make an appearance
Mm-hmm.
today. Yeah, so do check out the Globoversity, guys. I will also be putting some of Olmide's social media, like his LinkedIn, Instagram. Do check it out and do connect with him if you guys are interested in pursuing your own ambition, or maybe you guys are interested to know more about what his own personal journey is. So with that, take care of yourself, guys. Put on your mask, wash your hands, and please stay safe. And with that, that's the end of the day. Take care, everyone. Bye.
All right.